What's up, dogs? It's Nyctopluvo, and the GameCube has lots of games that people look back fondly on. There are also many games that went underneath the radar of most people, so I want to take a moment to talk about 5 of them. And a little disclaimer before we start here, not all these games are GameCube exclusive, but I think they're best played on the GameCube. So without any further ado, here are 5 GameCube hidden gems. Let me ask you something, you ever play a robot war game? No? You haven't? Well, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised considering the fact that there are little to no robot war games, and as far as I know, Metal Arms is the only robot war game. Metal Arms is a very interesting third-person shooter all about robots, and it's got your standard weapons in it like machine guns, laser guns, rocket launchers, grenades, you know, like every other shooter of that time. But Metal Arms also has other interesting weapons like the Ripper, which shoots saw blades, and you can literally tear other robots limb from limb, and it's pretty amazing. Or, you know, maybe you're looking for some recruitments, recruit some new friends or something. There's the Recruiter Grenade, which you can use to have enemy robots fight for you, which is really awesome. And if any of that didn't catch you, there's also the Control Tether, which is a really awesome weapon. It lets you like hack enemy robots and you can just control them, and then when you die you just return to your regular robot, and it just gives you an opportunity to see how the enemy robots play and how they are. And it's all in all, it's a really fun game. It's a little bit dated, I'll be honest with you. If you pick it up, it's a little bit clunky, you're gonna have to get used to it, but I will say, if you're familiar with Ratchet and Clank, it kind of plays like the Ratchet and Clank games. That kind of, if that makes any sense to you. But it's worth a try. It's got a great story, and I personally think the multiplayer is really fun. PacMan World Rally is a Mario Kart ripoff at its core, but I assure you it's still worth a try. Like Mario Kart, you race around the track collecting power-ups to destroy your enemies, and all the power-ups are pretty much exactly the same as Mario Kart's ones, except for, you know, they're the Pac-Man equivalent. But what makes PacMan World Rally unique is that throughout the track you're collecting like pellets, and once you get enough pellets you can turn into a giant Pac-Man cart, and everybody else turns into Blue Ghost, and you can just devour anybody in your path, and it's really fun. And in addition to that, there's also these fruits throughout the map, and when you get a fruit, there's like certain doorways and parts of the map where it has the fruit icon on it, and if you drive up to that, a door will open, or a gate, or what have you, and it's like a little shortcut to help you get ahead. And it's really well designed, because you think that'd be a flaw, like if you're trailing somebody that has like a cherry fruit and they're about to go through the shortcut for that, you would think that like, oh, if I fall right behind them I could just go through the thing too. Nope, the gate closes real quick on you, so it's really well balanced, and I think the shortcuts are just really a cool addition. And in addition to that, a lot of the maps are really well designed, which is cool. And of course, they have a Pac-Man maze map, which is interesting to say at the very least. Super Bubble Pop is an awesome puzzle game with really poppin' music. The game at first seems like most other Match 3 puzzle games, where you're just trying to clear the screen as fast as possible, but what I like about Super Bubble Pop is that if you clear the screen like fast enough, then like the level's done, you just move on to the next level. But if you wait too long, more waves of bubbles come, and more waves, till eventually, you know, you get overrun and the bubbles get too close to you and it's game over. But there's also another way to beat a level if you don't get past the first like wave and perfect the level. There's also like the bubbles kind of like stack up like these little columns, and they have like items on them. Like there's these rocks that like will like break bubbles. Sometimes those will be at the bottom of pillars, or, you know, usually at the top there's either these stars where if you get 3 of them it clears the level immediately, you're done. Later in the game you have to get more of them to clear the level, and then there's also these orb-looking power-ups, and if you get enough of them, you can perform a screen-clearing special. And for example, the character I use is the robot, and his just kind of does this pulse wave, and it like destroys all the bubbles off the screen. And I mean, if you're into puzzle games, I think you should definitely give this one a try. My only problem with this game is that it's not randomly generated, so if you play it enough, you'll know like the puzzles and like, you know, how to work them. WarioWare Inc. is an interesting party game on the GameCube that seems to be underneath the radar most. It's a minigame-based party game where the idea is you're thrown into these short minigames called microgames, and you get like maybe about like 10 seconds to figure out how to do the minigame before you fail. And I know what you're thinking, that might sound stressful and difficult, but that's kind of the point. But it's not like the game's super complex. I mean, the only two things you use for the game are the joystick to move mostly and the A button for actions. And it's just really fun because like there's so many minigames in this game, and they just like throw them at you like really fast, and you have to figure out, oh, what am I supposed to accomplish right here? And I mean, you could play this game by yourself, and it's kind of like a survival mode where you get like a couple lives and you have to like see how far you can get, and then there's like a boss battle, and that's really fun. But if you get some friends together and you play this game, it's really a good time. There's just a simple mode where you try to like survive the longest, and then there's other modes like throughout the game. Like to name a couple, one of my favorites is this one where one player is playing a minigame and keeps playing microgames until they pass, and then like it rotates to the next player while every other player is tapping A like really fast to like blow this balloon up. And if you're playing a minigame while the balloon blows up, you lose and everybody else wins. So it's kind of stressful because you don't want to be the one playing minigames. So as soon as you get put in control of playing the minigames, you're like, oh, I gotta get out of here quick. And then there's this other one where every time you lose a minigame, you get a turtle to sit on. And then like in between minigames, you have to balance on these turtles. So if you get a lot of them, then you're just kind of screwed. And then if you lose, it's kind of, I'll be honest, it's kind of BS, but you get to like play as a turtle, and you get to like kind of like poke at like people trying to balance on the turtles while they're doing that. And it's a little bit obnoxious. But all in all, the game's really fun. I don't believe it's a super expensive game, but it's really great if you get some friends together to play it. Now this wouldn't be a proper GameCube Hidden Gems video if we didn't mention Chibirobo. It's kind of like an unspoken rule that you have to mention Chibirobo when talking about GameCube Hidden Gems. And quite honestly, I mean, it's a little bit overdone, but I very much love Chibirobo, and I think it needs to be talked about, and everybody should give it a try, because I mean, when you describe Chibirobo, it sounds kind of boring, because Chibirobo is a tiny robot, and his job is to make the Sanderson family happy by cleaning and solving their like family issues. And you're like, oh, that sounds incredibly boring, until you realize that the Sandersons household is kind of like, it's a really crazy place. And I mean, a better way that I like to describe Chibirobo as is it's kind of like Nintendo's version of Toy Story, because when the Sandersons aren't around, or when they're not around or it's nighttime, the toys come to life, and there's just like such an array of different toys. They're all wacky and different and have like interesting personalities, and they too have problems and dilemmas for Chibirobo to resolve. So there's like a lot going on in this game, and it's got a lot of charm, and it's a really fun game. And I will say this game's really adult with its themes. I don't want to go too into it because I think you should play it for yourself, but Chibirobo is definitely, I think, a must-play on the GameCube, and everybody should give it a look, especially if you grew up on Toy Story, because it's very similar and it's awesome. So those were 5 GameCube hidden gems that I think you guys should check out if you're interested in the GameCube. And I may do a couple more of these just because there's a lot of games on the GameCube I think aren't as appreciated as they should be. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye!